Hello everyone, welcome to Amina Jimo Show, and on today's episode I'll be talking about Mr. Rahman Oladigbolu. Mr. Rahman Oladigbolu is from Oyo State in Nigeria. Mr. Rahman Oladigbolu is a Nigerian American based in Massachusetts, Boston to be precise, and he has been doing wonderful things with his role here. He is a writer and also a movie director. I would now play the video so you can learn more about the true life story of Mr. Rahman Oladigbolu. Over here at the Amina Jimo Show, we tell true life stories to impact our community so that another person can hear the story and learn about other things that has to do with their own lives. Sometimes people say, why tell your story? It is important to tell your story sometimes because you empower people that you don't even know that are watching you. So why don't you tell your story? Remember, telling your story does not mean you're anything less of yourself. It makes you happy that you're empowering someone else because they do not have to go through maybe the mistake that you've gone through, or they can learn from your story and do things the way you've done it. Sometimes we have good stories, sometimes we have, I wouldn't call them bad stories, I would call them trials of life. Who has never been through trials? I would say no one. Even the prophets have been through trials. So who are we to say that we have never been through trials? Everybody has been through trial in different forms. So sit back and watch this. Do not forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you've not already done so. And also remember to give me a thumbs up. Put on your notification button because on Friday, this Friday, we will be bringing Mr. Rahman Oladigbolu to tell you about the impact of the true life stories and why it's important for people to tell their stories. As a movie director, he will be here to educate you guys and to make sure he answers all your questions. So do not forget, it's going to be American time and Canada time, 12 p.m. Eastern time, and UK and Nigerian time will be 5 p.m. So do not forget to be here. Remember to call your friends, tell them about it, your co-workers, your family and friends. Ask people to come watch it. Feel free to share all the videos on the platform. And do not forget, like I always say, Be that change that you want to see in the society. If you are that change, don't worry about what the other person is doing. You just continue changing. And if you feel people are toxic around you, disconnect. You've tried. You've tried to mend things. And if they're not respecting your boundaries, or it's causing you troubles with your mental health, you have to care about your mental health. So sit back and watch the video, because I'll be playing an interview that Mr. Rahman Oladibolu sent to me to share with you guys. So it's with his permission that I'm sharing this video. So thank you so much for always coming to Amina Jimoh Show. You can also follow us on Facebook at Amina Jimoh Foundation. Don't forget to like, and on the same Facebook, we do have a Facebook group called the Amina Jimoh Show. Do not forget to join, because sometimes people think, oh, I'm already on the foundation. Yes, you might be on the foundation and not be on the show. So be sure to click on join with that Facebook group. And on the page is the Amina Jimoh Foundation page. Thank you so much. And I would like to remind you that this is a non-profit organization, so there's no profit going anywhere. We are just here freely educating people and impacting lives globally, because it's a global transformation mission. And I want to use the time to thank my volunteer coordinators that are working all across the country. Thank you so much for all you do. And thank you so much for all of you that came to the Amina Jimoh Foundation launch and homecoming in Nigeria. It was a great experience. God bless you. And for those of you who were not able to make it, I also say thank you, because I know your intentions were pure. Thank you for reaching out. Thank you for letting me know. I love you. And remember, over here, every day is a happy day. We celebrate every day.
My name is Mahdi Omar, and this is the African Television Network of New England. Today, we are excited to speak with Rahman Oladibolo, a talented filmmaker whose work explores themes of identity, migration, and cultural conflict. After overcoming a 7-year illness and moving to the US, Rahman began his filmmaking journey in Boston, working his way up from production assistance towards winning director and producer. His debut feature in America, The Story of the Soul Sister, has received critical acclaim, earning awards like Boston's Best Emerging Filmmaker and the African Movie Academy Award for Best Film by an African Abroad. A graduate of Quincy College and Harvard University, Rahman continues to tell powerful stories that address social issues, including campus conflict and religious tension in Nigeria. We are thrilled to have him here today to share his inspiring journey and insight into filmmaking. Welcome to our studio, Rahman.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes. Listen, the transition from Quincy College to Harvard must have been almost traumatic. How is that possible?
Oh, well, it was actually smooth. At that time, it was good that I had it. At the time, I wasn't even thinking of furthering my education at the time. Not that it was something that I've always wanted, but because I've always wanted to be a filmmaker, so I wasn't really preparing, looking at anything. By the time you were finishing the associates, and I wasn't looking around until suddenly I got the the letter in my mailbox, offering me a scholarship to go to Harvard. I got multiple ones at the time, but including Columbia University in New York also. So I got many of them, but Harvard was here, and I thought, yeah, let's go.
So did you apply for it, or how did you?
No, I got the scholarship to come, and I went there. That's it.
It's incredible. So tuition paid. Everything is paid.
Initially.
So that is the undergraduate.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. It's incredible. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
So tell us about your early life in Nigeria and how it helped shape the person you are now. Your upbringing, so to speak.
My upbringing was in my family. My grandparents raised me, my grandmother specifically. And then at some point my father would want me to come over because, you know, you have this, sometimes when the father will want the kids to be in the house because that's something about him. He always wanted all his kids to be in his house. And but I was growing up with my grandparents, and I loved it there. I didn't want to go anywhere. But eventually he structured it so that school time I would spend in our hometown, Oyo, and during the vacation I go back to my grandmother's place where I preferred to be. So I moved back and forth like that, and was able to get sense of, you know, multiple places because here with my father, my father was someone who had many wives and he had many children. So I was able to be in like a pool of a lot of children. It was always fun in the house with everybody. We all were there. We all recognized one another as brothers and sisters, and we did everything together in such a way that we were able to have a strong bond, which I eventually am very grateful for. But when I go to my grandmother's place, I was the first grandchild that she's taking care of, and after a while we had my uncle also gave birth to a boy that also joined us. So like that over there, I was more focused on when I'm with my grandmother, you know, because it was just me and then later my other cousin that we were there. And once in a while I have some other cousins come over and things. So it was more focused, but in my father's place, I was in the midst of, you know. So,
it's a village.
Yeah, so I enjoyed the upbringing and how it affected, influenced my life so far. You know, one thing was from my grandmother, the insistence. I know she was a very religious person, and same with my grandfather there. So it was a very religious home. And my grandmother, a lot of things like if you have to wake up 5:30 in the morning for us to pray, the first prayer of the day, the subhi. Yeah. So if I didn't wake up at that time, I didn't join them, it would be like, you don't have breakfast today. Yeah. You know, so all of those, and I had to follow everything, you know, as specific as it was. So yeah, I learned that being able to, the discipline of being able to know that, you know, if you have to do something, you have to do something. And when it's early in the morning or anytime. So I learned that responsibility over there. And and for my father, he was someone who really loved almost everybody because he hardly had enemies. In the neighborhood where we lived, everybody came up to him to seek advice, and he joked a lot, and every one of them knew that. And people in the town also would come to him for help, all sorts of, you know, help in such a way that the way he would help sometimes, like if there was a time someone came and the man said he wanted a job and all of it, and he thought, okay, he asked what do you do? The guy said he used to drive tipper, the truck they used to carry sand to building places, and then he bought two. And say, okay, now you have one. Find somebody else you can, So he's that kind of person that he tries to help people in a real sense of really giving them something to do, rather than just handing out money like that.
Yeah, it's a good upbringing. Another follow-up question for you will be, as you know, you are from West Africa, and I'm from the East. Unless someone comes from a very, very prominent family in Africa, getting a visa from American embassy is nearly impossible.
Yeah.
Are you a royal family?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Seriously, how is that possible? How did you come directly from Nigeria? So,
yeah, I came directly from Nigeria. And
how easy or difficult it was?
It was difficult. At that time in Nigeria, we used to call the U.S. visa as the almighty visa. That was what we call it, almighty visa. And there's a joke that it's easier to get into paradise than to get into America.
Yeah.
So the time I wanted to come, I first wanted to come to learn filmmaking after my high school equivalent in Nigeria, secondary school we call it. That was when I seemed to have the bug, right? Really, I wanted to just make films. And at the time in Nigeria, the industry hasn't really started much as it is now. It was before in the 60s, 70s, but the economic problem that Nigeria had made it to collapse. Even many cinemas that I grew up going to cinemas in Nigeria, many of them became churches and became places where people sold clothes and things. So things went down during the economic turndown that we had, and it was later that some people developed what we have now that we call Nollywood. So I was it was at the time it was starting, but I had a mentor who lived in my neighborhood. He studied film at the New York University. And so I used to go to him and he would be like, no, don't just pick up a camera like all these people picking camera. You have to go to school first. Yeah. You have to learn to make film. So that was the first time I was thinking of coming to the US to come and learn filmmaking. And I was hustling to do that before, but things changed. Eventually, by the time I wanted to get the visa, I had been sick for some time and my hips have fused and I needed to do surgery. So it was that time that my uncle applied for medical treatment and things like that. So that was how I eventually got it. Although not the first time, it was like the third or fourth time, if I remember correctly. Despite everything that I took, that I was standing there with a walker because my hips are fused, and my uncle has signed the document to pay all the treatments, my hip replacements, and hospital also sent a letter that we are satisfied, we take care of it, all of it, including the orthopedic surgeon that will. But they refused me.
The embassy.
The embassy refused it.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh no, yeah, we think you can finish and then you want to stay in America. Well, I have been in one place for the last few years, not in any particular country, you will say, because it was just like I was on a sick bed. So what would you expect me to do? But she refused. Second time, they refused.
The embassy again.
The embassy, yeah. And at that time, usually the rule was that after being rejected 2 times, you have to wait a whole year before you reapply. And I was like, oh, God, I've been on this thing for so many years. How am I going to still wait for 1 more year? But luckily, I received a mail again to an appointment to come. And then I went there, and immediately I got there, the person was like, sorry, we're not going to give you this visa.
Really?
Because it was an accident that you got the letter. You were not supposed to come until after a year. I was like, but I got the letter and I'm here. He said, yes, you got the letter and you're here. I paid for the visa. But she said, I have spoken to my director and he said no, that I should come back.
You didn't give up.
And then she said, oh, well, you can collect the money that you paid for the visa. Because I've paid, every single time I came, I paid for visa. But once they don't give you, you lose the money, you know. And but I insisted that, no, go ahead with the interview. She was like, well, my boss has told me not to give you, so if I go ahead with the interview, the money you paid for visa is gone. So I'm advising you to go get your money. And I said, no, the money is nothing to me. I want you to conduct the interview. And luckily, that was the day I got it.
Yeah.
You know, she did the interview, and ultimately she said, okay, let me go back to my boss and ask. And she went there back, and by the time she came, she said, all right, we'll send you the visa in so days.
Yeah. How old were you?
Huh?
How old were you when you received the visa?
I was 27.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's incredible. Huh?
Yeah,
It was not that easy.
I was so excited, you know, because I saw a lot of things ahead of me, getting my medical treatments and going to school for film.
Yeah, it's incredible. So would you tell us about your illness? It's almost a 7-year
Yeah.
illness
Yeah.
before relocating to the US. How did that personal struggle influence the way you tell stories today?
Yes, it was 7 years that I was on that sick bed. It started with I have the sickle cell disease, and so
What is it exactly?
sickle cell.
Yeah.
It's the sickle cell disease. It's a disease of it's genetic, and you have the genotype. We are, you know, SS, SC, and all of that. And usually, when you have a crisis of the sickle cell, when the red blood cells are not getting enough oxygen, and rather than be around the way all red blood cells are passing through your blood vessels, these ones become like a C. You know, they become malformed in such a way that they become like a C. So they get to a place where they can't get through because now they are hooking. Rather than be slim and round and passing through easily, they see like this, and then they block the blood vessels there. Once you have that blocking blood vessels, things are not moving, the blood is not going properly to an area, then you start having the pain. It's very excruciating pain, more than anything I've ever seen in my life.
Really? 7 years?
Yeah.
7 years?
Yeah, and so, and then when it does that long enough, it kills, like usually it will kill like the bones. For example, like in my hip at the time, like it killed the bones such that the bones were not receiving enough oxygen, and then they started to crumble on their own. And that also came with an additional excruciating pain of its own. And ultimately, if it's not taken care of on time, and also eventually when you have that, most people, when you have that AVN hip problem, eventually you have to do a surgery to replace the hip most of the time. But mine, being there and not having the proper treatments that I was supposed to have, the hip fused into one another. So it's like both hips, the way you have all separate bones of the hips and everything fused together and became one.
Wow.
So there was no motion in my leg at all. It was just cast, and so
7 years, yeah, it's incredible. But at one point in your life, you chose to share your story in your book on Holy Pilgrimage, a long journey for freedom.
Yes.
What made you decide to write it down?
Initially, when I was on that sick bed, first year, everything was going, I was there. Second year, third year, and by the third year, everything has really lost meaning much to me. It was because it was like, first year you have all the festivals, the Ramadan, the Eid, and then the Christmas, and you are looking forward to the next one, but the next one I was still there. you know, all of those festivals. I was still right there on the sickbed. Now, the third time, everything was still the same. So I kind of, somehow I lost interest in anything that people take. So that was the time I started really going more into myself and being able to be critical about a lot of things in life. It was actually a moments that really have an impact on everything I do after that, because I began to see the world in a different way than I was before. Seeing people from all over. I remember the news that I was exposed to a lot. I used to listen to BBC, sometimes Voice of America, and so I got news from all over the world, the different problems that's going on all over the world, and I was able to be thinking and making up my own opinions to myself there. So, but at some point, things changed such that I started just seeing people as human beings all over the world. That is the fundamental thing about everyone, that we are all just human beings. The nations that we say we belong to these nations, we belong to this culture, we belong to that, everything else was learned. And so that changed my perspective. And because of that, I started writing ideas down in my journal, because I was keeping journals. I started writing ideas and whatever happened in the day. But one day I just thought about writing the book. Not necessarily because I wanted people to read, but because by writing I noticed that it gave me something to do every day, like people are going to work or anything. Yeah. Because I wrote for 8 hours a day. When I wake up in the morning, I wrote 4 hours. Like before work. I go into bed, I wrote 4 hours. So it became something that I was getting interested in, and it was carrying me along in that period. It was something that it helped sustain me also. So that before I realized it, I have written several pages, and I wrote about the event. You know, how all the sickness started, the before, when I thought about coming to America to learn filmmaking, and then rather than fall into the illness and all of it. So I wrote about everything that I could remember, even the ideas that I was thinking about, how I was beginning to see the world more as just one species, human beings, and that ought to be the basis of how we look at ourselves and how we deal with ourselves, though unfortunately it's not. So all of that came together to really determine how I started to look at the world, and I felt it would be good to publish it. After I came to the US, was later that I decided I would publish it, and I put it together, edited, and published it.
Yeah, but you call it a holy pilgrimage? Yeah. So you went to Mecca?
No, okay. I didn't go to Mecca. What the experience of going through all of this from before I became sick, all my efforts, struggling all over my city, looking for ways to get American visa, and then falling sick unexpectedly, and then the whole journey. So I realized, because coming out of it, I felt like it was a holy pilgrimage in itself, and more in the sense that experiences like that in life is a holy pilgrimage, because something that transforms me and how I see the world, how I felt it was like a holy pilgrimage. So that's why I named it on Holy Pilgrimage. At first I wanted to name it Coming to America, but I remember some of my friends would be like, "Oh no, that's cheap. That's like following Eddie Murphy or something."
And it's a very powerful title.
So I picked that on Holy Pilgrimage. Yeah.
Yeah, and the Liberty statue is there. It's incredible. Now, you are behind the camera, obviously. Mm-hmm. But what originally put the camera in your hands? Actually, what attracted you to movie making?
I was lucky very early in my journey.
Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something from Mr. Rahman's story. Wasn't that a very impactful story? Do let me know in the comment section what you think about the story I've shared. If you have questions about the impact of true life stories, like I stated earlier on, Mr. Rahman will be here this Friday. So make sure that you come here. Feel free to call in on the 17th, precisely on the 17th of October at 12 p.m. like I stated earlier on, 12 p.m. Eastern Time for US and Canada, and Nigeria and UK time would be 5 p.m. What time? Remember, click on that subscription button if you've not done so. Subscription is free. Thank you so much. God bless you, and I will be reading your comments about what you feel about Mr. Rahman Oladigbolu's true life story. Wasn't that really impactful? If it were to be you, what would you have done? I'd like to know in the comment section. And I would leave you here and see you next time on the next episode. Remember to call the Amina Jimoh Foundation number on all the flyers for the true life stories on the Amina Jimoh talk show. So the next talk show we have, it's on Friday, and I'll see you guys then. Thank you and God bless. I hope you have a great night. If you're watching me at night and if you're watching me in the morning, I say good morning. Eshon gamudupe na gudi suse dalu iriri aye lanson bibai. Labarin dunia na gaskiya akukwa undum madu. Real life story. Thank you and God bless you. Bye bye.